Alright, this is my first time editing and recording it on video, so if I flub something up, just ignore me. Okay, I opened this photo in Lightroom, and I shoot a little bit darker than normal, just the way I edit. And then I go over to my presets over here, and I use the VSCO film 00, which is actually their free pack. I kind of played around. I have the second pack and the 7th pack, and I really just played around with it until I got the look that I wanted. And so what I use is the Tri-X3++, which is actually a black and white. And then I go over here and let me close this, and I can click on the color to convert it to color. And I am super anti-grain, so I come down here and turn that completely down. And then I don't like mine as matte as it is, so I bring it down to there. I still like a little bit of matte, but not completely. And then I really like to push my highlights down a little bit. And then it's pretty contrasty just right out of the bat, so I turn it down just a little bit to kind of eyeball it to where I like it. And then I usually warm it up just a little bit. I don't like cool pictures. And it's looking pretty good. I usually bump up the clarity just, I don't know, I think it adds a little bit more detail. Vibrance just a touch. And I go up to my brushes and do the warmer just to kind of pump up the sun. And then go down here to your VSCO film toolkit, and I kind of play around with my blacks and see if I like it. That one adds pretty good tone. And then I always make sure to go to sharpen ++. I like mine really sharp. Let me play around with the exposure, see if I want to bump it up any. I will do it just a touch. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, and then I go up to File, and I'm going to export it. And you can choose which folder you want, and I already have mine set. And then I will name it for the 7th photo. And I go down here to my dimensions. I usually save mine in at 8x12. It's just the format that I like it in, and if a client wants a bigger file, then I'll, resize it for them. But for right now, that's pretty much golden. Then I export it, and I go to Photoshop and open it right here. And then I am super picky about flyaways. I really dislike when other photographers leave flyaways in. It's just a pet peeve of mine. And so I usually take my stamp and then bump it up just a little and just kind of clean up these little flyaways, making sure you don't take off too much of her hair. And if you need to blend in, if you can kind of see that right there where I put that, I usually take my opacity down to 55 and just kind of click and move it around and blend it. And then I'll bump it back up to 100, clean up these over here. And then let's see if there's any other thing that looks distracting to me. This one's pretty good, actually. Let's see. That flower is hanging down just a little bit, but it's just kind of inevitable. And then I take my healing brush and just kind of see if we have any blemishes that we need to get rid of. I'm not into super photoshopping the face, but I will help a girl out and get rid of any blemishes because nobody wants a photo of that. Okay, that looks pretty decent. Oh, there's one piece of hair up here. When I do the healing brush on hair, I do it in little itty bitty strokes, because if you do something like this, you can totally see where you had it, so just be aware of that. Okay, so I'm going to go up here, and I use just the primer, Everyday Clean from Bellevue Avenue. I won a free pack for my birthday last year, and I just really like it because it gives just a little bit of a warmer tone and sharpens it a little. I usually take it down to where I want it, just to give it a little pop, and then I always click on the sharpen and close that down. Let's see if we need to do anything. Her skin looks really good. It may smooth it out just a little bit. So I use the Fixings by Color Veil. I'll just do the regular. They have one for overexposed images and underexposed images, but I always click on the regular. It usually takes a while to load. Okay, I always click off of the exposure fixes because I already have it how I want it, and just drop your hair, and they have a skin smoothing option, and I always have my brush at 100% just so I can see where I've been. So I'm gonna blur the background, and make sure when you blur the background, like this right here is not blurred in real life, so don't blur it because then it looks super awful. So I just kind of help create a little more bokeh, and then I will run it over her skin just to smooth it out a little. And I'm not being super thorough, just haphazardly kind of put it on here. On the face I am a little bit, because if you blur, the dark spots around the nose and the eyes and stuff, it really loses sharpness and looks funky. And if you want to know where you've been when you're doing like this on your skin tones, or anywhere that you're trying to mask off one of your actions, hit the backslash button right next to your brackets, and you can see where, oops, I forgot that part, and kind of see, make sure you've covered everything. I'm going to do this, and I usually like to do a smaller one just on the lips a little, because if anybody like me, mine are always cracked and look awful. I'm going to step that back because that makes it look funky. Okay, right now she looks way too airbrushed, so I go over here and I usually bump it down halfway and then click on and off. If it looks really, like if you can really tell that I've done something, I'll usually bump it down a little bit. I just want it to subtly blend everything in. Okay, and if she was looking at me, I would do the twinkly eyes on here, but she's not, so I don't really need to. Everything looks pretty good there. I'll flatten that. And then I use Depth and Drama from the Greater Than Gatsby 3 Nails collection. And this is basically just burning and dodging, but for some reason it's not as brutal as when I just do it manually from over here. So I usually take it down to 15 for the shadows, and I just kind of go in here and any dark spot that just needs a little bit of definition, I usually do. It's really good for makeup. I'll do the lips a little, can do some contouring. Anything that needs a little bit more definition. And then I will press X to switch it to highlights, and I usually do this one about a 10% because you don't want to make it look noticeable. Just take a little bit of the dark circles out. I usually do a little bit of highlight on the lips just to give it more definition. And there you have it. And then you save over your other file. Is what I do. I have way too many photos on here to save them all separately. And that is it. If you have any questions, you can email me at brassbirdphotography@gmail.com, or you can comment on the website or Facebook, Instagram, wherever you like. And if you like this video, I can do some more. Thanks so much for listening.